So excited for y'all to join me. Hopefully, you have gotten a chance. If not, that's fine too. But today we're kind of talking about some of the things that I have posted in my last video, the data collection that I've been working on, and also just any other teacher questions you might have, anything from any previous videos, just any questions, just to check in, chat, see how we're doing. Got my caffeine. Ready. It's been kind of a busy morning, but I'm super excited to get to meet with you all and talk to you all. We'll see how 10 a.m. works. I know that some of you had said that you wanted to pop in and do like 4 p.m. And then yesterday it just didn't work for me. So I was a little bit behind on editing. I had kind of a wild ride at summer school, and I just needed some time for some R&R and to just kind of like reset and get ready. So I'll be looking down here on my computer and up on my screen, just kind of at any comments so that I can read them. They're easier to read on my computer screen than they are on here. So that's kind of like the route that I'm going to take. But if you haven't gotten a chance to watch my data video, um, I showed you in the last video how I collect data and how I've done it both with the binder system and how I've done data collection utilizing uh, like our Google Sheets program. So I can't take full credit for the Google Sheets program. That's actually one of my staff members that I work with. She came up with a lot of that. So that is why not everything is live on my Teachers Pay Teachers yet, because I'm kind of like tweaking it a little bit so that it is a little bit more tailored to a broad spectrum of people. So I've got to kind of tweak some of the formulas and stuff because I don't want to like take all credit for her idea. That's also why that the sales from that, when it is live on my TPT store, are going to go back into supporting my assistants and staff and also my students in my classroom as well. So I do like to spoil my staff, and I like to get them lots of goodies, and I like to do fun things for them to kind of keep morale up because our job's really hard, to be honest. Like, there's when you work with teenagers in general, it's extremely difficult because teenagers aren't the most appreciative population. But then if you go ahead and add in that there are teenagers that have behavioral needs, it can be even more challenging. So we don't get a lot of appreciation. So I like to show that appreciation to my staff by kind of giving them treats. I usually bring in snacks and treats like once a week when we have our staff meetings, just to give them something to look forward to. Because I remember when I was a paraprofessional, I don't know. I mean, I can't give them everything that I want. I would love to give everybody a raise and pay them like $100 an hour or more because that's what they're all worth. But unfortunately, that is out of my control. So I try to do it with snacks and treats. And I'm pretty excited because we're going to be starting a new year. Last year was my first year as a behavioral coach. So this year, like, I've learned a few things from last year and I want to implement some new ideas for this year. So my goal is to really do some more team building and some more paraprofessional training. I've been working on a handbook that I'm using with our teachers and assistants and kind of to guide everybody because I know that it is hard to lead and manage other adults. They don't teach you that in teacher training. So I want to spend some time making sure that I talk with the teachers first and kind of how we want to organize things and then talk to everybody as a whole. My plan this year is to kind of do a how-to guide, have every staff member do a how-to guide for themselves. We work with students that have behavior plans and IEPs, and it's a how-to guide for the student. And it talks about how they learn best and how they like to be communicated with and how they like to be reinforced and all of that stuff. So I kind of thought, hey, that would be a really great thing to do with my staff and have us all work on our how-to guide. So that is something that I'm working on, and I will go ahead and share it with you all when I'm completed with it. So if it's something that you're interested in doing with your team, you can do that as well. But I thought it'd be really cool to have our staff kind of share things such as, how they like to be communicated with, what kind of things are motivating to them, how they like to receive feedback. Do they like to receive verbal feedback, written feedback, frequent feedback? Anything that they want me to know. Sometimes we don't realize how we come across, and some people know that they maybe come across like harsher, or maybe they don't, or they struggle to voice their concerns or their opinions. And if you have someone who maybe is a little bit more intimidated to say how they feel, then I could set up something where I could talk to them in a way that they feel more comfortable. I want to make sure that people are feeling heard and understood when we have those meetings, and I want everybody on our team to know that they're a valued member of our team. So that's a big objective that I have going into this year. But like I said, because this idea was not conceived by me, I don't want to take credit for it. And I want to make sure that any proceeds I get from it go back into our unit, to our staff, for staff morale, and for like our students, for a school store. Doing a school store for teenagers, oh my gosh. It was so much easier when I had the littles. The teenagers are expensive and they're hard to please, which anybody who has teenagers know that. They do like food. Food is definitely a big motivator, but not all kids like food. And it's like the only food that they like, I swear, are hot chips and Mountain Dew. It's like the main thing, and maybe some Skittles. But that's what they want. I was actually putting together a wish list for our behavioral unit yesterday on Amazon and putting it out, and I was like kind of embarrassed to put it out. It was like, oh, junk food. Probably like, what is wrong with this lady? But that is what's reinforcing to our kids. So they really like the food. I do have some other stuff in there, like some anime and some art and some Legos and other stuff that I know they like in our store. But a lot of it is just kind of some junk. And I found some fidgets and some things that were really cool. One thing I want to do is some better cell phone management. So I put some cell phone things on my classroom wish list. I have actually never had anybody buy off my wish lists. I keep doing them, hoping, I don't know, maybe one day somebody will. I understand though, it's a lot. People are going through hard times, but you hope. You hear all those stories about the celebrities that go in and clear people's wish lists. So I put them together, just hoping that maybe that'll happen to me. I don't know. Um, I think I'm learning right now that 10 a.m. is probably not the best time to go live, but it's okay. I can go ahead and talk about things that I know that you're probably interested in terms of for teacher stuff. So I'm almost done with summer school. I have next week off, and I'm super excited for. I don't know. I I get my first paycheck this weekend for summer school, so I think that might help. But we are definitely over the honeymoon period where I think everybody was kind of excited to come in and see each other and do new things. Now it's definitely like everybody's ready to have their break. So I think that it'll be nice. I'm definitely ready for some time to relax. I feel like I've been hustling all summer. I made this summer's goal to like really focus in and hone it in on my teacher side hustle business, doing YouTube, doing teachers pay teachers, and all of that stuff because I really neglected throughout the year. I just get crazy busy and overwhelmed. And I do think it's really important to prioritize self care. So I'm trying to find the balance of getting some of these things done and front loaded so that I have them ready to go and ready for people throughout the year. And so I can take that time, and then also still taking my time during the summer. So it has definitely cut those late night summers of binge watching TV like out of existence. But it's probably not the best. I don't know. Some people might think that's self care. I don't know. Let me know what you think. I don't know if staying up late is. I think that prioritizing a good sleep schedule, even in the summer, even when we're relaxed, is probably a good form of self care. That's the one nice thing about, well, I mean, there's several nice things, but that's the one major nice thing about summer school and actually having kids who have to do summer workouts for sports and that sort of thing is it does keep me on a routine. And I think that in the past, that has been the hardest thing about summer I mean, I have a crazy teacher confession, but like I actually will get depressed during the summer. And it makes me even more depressed to know that I'm getting depressed because this is my break and it's my chance to relax and rejuvenate. And I'm feeling depressed. And I don't know if I'm alone in that, but I've struggled with that in the past. I've struggled with like spending the entire summer thinking about the days that I'm wasting and how I feel like I'm not getting anything done. And that's just a battle for me. I don't know if it's just because I'm an extremely type A personality or if anybody else feels that way. Like we feel like we got to just do because there's so much teacher workload during the school year, and you just can't, one human can't get it all done. You can't. And even like every once in a while as a coach, what's different being a coach than a teacher is I do have calmer days where kids aren't needing as much support, teachers aren't needing as much support, and I'll sit down and try to do some paperwork, but it never fails because even on those calm days, something happens. Something always happens. And it may not even be with a student, it may be with someone, from the county ends up needing something, or you're adding something, or you end up being short staffed and they need you to sub somewhere. So I feel like I don't always get everything accomplished. Or even if you have those moments where they're calm, then you find yourself like not knowing what to do with yourself. So those are some things I'm working on. Just trying to kind of front load and be more organized for next year. I think that's a constant like goal. I mean, I think overall I'm a pretty organized person, but I don't know. I always feel like I could be better at it, especially when it comes to management and time. But I also have to accept the fact that, teachers do have a job where they expect us to get a lot done. And I don't know how much of that is sometimes like systematically imposed. Some of it is, and how much of that is self imposed because a lot of teachers really are like people who strive to do their best and want the best for their students and want things to be perfect. And I think that also stems from if you don't have things planned out, then you know you're going to pay for it. And it's going to be super duper stressful in the long run. So it looks like I have some other people on here. So if anybody's got any questions, I would love to answer them. Any talking points that we can go in the direction of, because I know that probably just listening to me talk, and talk is not the most exciting thing in the world. But like I said, that's kind of the thing I'm working towards this summer. I'm also happy that I'm going to kind of prioritize a little bit more self care and working out because with teaching summer school and trying to move my business forward, it hasn't been that great. I think last year was I know last year was definitely summer of self care. I did a lot. I was so good last year. I went to the gym every single day. I lifted 3 times a week. Like now I just walk. But I mean, I guess that's good. That's better than nothing. But I would like to get into a more intense routine. So to kind of reflect, we're going to get back into the last video I had with the data collection, and there were a couple things in there that I did want to clarify, just to make things easier. So in my binder right now, the only page that's editable is where you can put in the goals for the data sheets. I took out the editable parts of the IEP at a glance because I felt like it was kind of hard to get everything typed in there and it was easier to write. But if you do purchase that item and you want it to be editable in there, it's all in Google Drive. So just send me a message on Teachers Pay Teachers, and I can go ahead and change that. So far, I haven't had anybody give me feedback where they want that changed. But if you want that changed, let me know. I'm very happy to make things work for you all. I just took it out for me because when I tried to type it in there, it got overwhelming for me. It was just easier for me to write it in. And then I would just go and copy it and give it to the teachers. I got teacher handwriting, so they could read what I had in there. But if you feel like people can't read your handwriting or you'd rather just type it in there and even just like share the document with them digitally, let me know and I will make those edits. That's if anything in my store. I don't get my feelings hurt. I appreciate the feedback. So if you pop in there and there's anything that you want to change, fix, just let me know and I will go ahead and do that. I put up some other resources, some freebies. So I do have like an interest inventory for transition IEPs. I think even at the elementary level, it's even before they hit 12, 14, which is when you typically do transitions, junior high, secondary, you will always do them, they're mandatory. But in the elementary level, I think it's always important to sit down and do those interviews with students and ask them what they want to be when they grow up and what kind of hobbies they have. The more you start talking about their plans outside of school and their goals for the future, I think the better it is. Sometimes at elementary level, they can be really hilarious. I have gotten so many interesting answers. I've had students tell me that, they want to be rappers, which is very common, or YouTubers. You hear that one a lot. I've heard firefighters, and oh, what was the funniest one? I had a kid who was very honest with me, and he told me he was going to be a hacker. So he was dead serious. I think he was trying to get my reaction, like to see, he's trying, sometimes with DBD they like to make you squirm a little bit. And he was trying to get my reaction. He told me he was gonna be a hacker. And he was pretty dead set. And he had his plan all in place and like these kids, I swear. So when we went into the meeting, we talked about it. I kind of tweaked it a little bit. I mean, his mom knows who he was. She wasn't really surprised. I said, "Hey, he told me he wanted to work in computers. He made some jokes about being a hacker, but we kind of downplayed it." But um, kids are silly. That's what they like to do. They like to say things that shock adults sometimes. You do them, but they're entertaining and they're fun. And I've definitely gotten some interesting ones. When I would talk to my preschoolers, that's where you got the fairy princesses when they grew up. That's what they wanted to be. And that kind of stuff. And it is cute to save those just to kind of see, especially if you have kids and you keep them for a long period of time. Sometimes that happens when you're in elementary setting. You may get them at kindergarten and then you'll have them up to like fifth grade. And you can really see how they grow. And the parents even like those too. But it's good to have those discussions and talk about what they want to do when they get out and their independence. So I always do a transition interview, even with elementary, even with preschool. And I include the parents when we talk about the IEP meeting, like what do they see for their child? What hopes and dreams do they have for their child? And, we don't have to get into the discussion in elementary school on whether these are realistic or not, because being an elementary school kid, even being a junior high kid, a lot of it, you have time for realistic, dream, 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 shoot for the stars. I know that when I was in school, I had some adults try to squash my dreams, and I had some people try to support my dreams. And I really do appreciate the teachers I had that wanted to support my dreams instead of trying to squash them. So I always try to support my students and what they want to do, even if it is something that's very outlandish. I get a lot of them that want to be like influencers and YouTubers, and I don't like to talk about that this is what I do outside because I do like to keep my personal life personal, but I also understand that, people are going to find my social media. So, I will let them know that YouTube, Instagram, TikTok are not as easy as it seems. I think a lot of people see it from the outside and they think, oh, I just turn on my camera and all of a sudden I get thousands of followers and likes and brand deals. And they don't realize that it is legitimately a job that requires a lot of work. I worked on that video for you all. It took me like 6 hours to edit. It's crazy, and it probably doesn't even look like that, but there's just so much that goes into YouTube, especially. Like TikTok doesn't require as much, but YouTube definitely takes a lot of work, and I don't think a lot of kids completely understand that. And that's why when I talk to my junior high kids and that's something they're interested in, or I get a lot of them want to be like music producers, and I do have that background in journalism, and I do have that background in video and audit, you know what I mean, video and audio editing. I know how much work goes into it, and I can't explain that to them and how competitive an industry it is. So just important to remember and teach the students that sort of thing. So I have those in there. I also put in the visual schedules as well, and those are also a freebie. So I like to keep the visual schedules. I have a student right now in summer school where we do a lot of visuals, and it's very helpful for elementary. But even on the junior high level, secondary level, they like to know. I swear, every kid when I would teach, they come, what are we doing today? What are we doing today? They just want to know that peace, that comfort. So I think it's important to have a schedule and a routine on the board. So those are freebies that are in there, and I have various colors that might go with the theme. If there's anything else you want a different color, once again, let me know something that you're looking for. Um, so another thing I'm working on, and I said that in my last video, so that's going to be coming. We're doing preference assessment. So I'm going to be doing a digital preference assessment that I'm going to set up via Google Forms. And then I'm going to have another one that is going to be just a paper one. So you can sit down with the students and find out what's reinforcing to them. Like I stated in my previous video, I know that sometimes positive reinforcements, external reinforcers in general, tend to get a bad rep. But when you're working with teaching kids how to regulate their attention and kind of work on building their motivation, sometimes you do need those external factors. When we were little, my mom did sticker charts, and it's because you want to attach something positive to the good behavior, add that little extra boost of dopamine so that they're more likely to want to come back and do it. Also, I think it's a good thing to celebrate because getting through a really hard task, something that takes a lot of effort for you, and that might be completing a math sheet, deserves a little happy dance at the end of it. It deserves a little break. It deserves something fun. I do that naturally for myself, if I spent 6 hours, 4 hours, whatever, editing a video, you best believe I'm gonna go out and do something for myself afterwards because I worked really hard, and it's okay to do that. I think it's also important though to remember to fade. I see a lot when you're working with like elementary kids, pre-K kids, you can see a lot of over reinforcing. And we need to make sure that we are fading back. Initially, I like to think about it when I was doing potty training at the preschool level. You would initially start off with every time for a lot of our kids, they were afraid of the toilet. Like this was a big thing. Like they were afraid to even go in there. So like we'd have to attach a reinforcement or a reward just for them going in there. And then eventually they got used to going in there and we'd fade back that reward for just going in. And then maybe we'd start reinforcing them for going like number one. And then once they got the hang of that, we'd pull back the reinforcement and maybe spread it out to the end of the day. And then like the end of 2 days. And then we have a weekly prize. That's what you want to do for all of these things. And that's kind of like I talked about the level system that we have at the junior high level. And that is why we do the level system because it's a weekly reinforcer at the end. And then when they get it to like the high school, they do monthly reinforcers. So you're fading it back and kind of getting used to it. In fact, we're even talking about next year, instead of making it a weekly shop in the school store, like we may make it like bi-weekly and then that kind of thing. So it kind of gets them more used to waiting and having that delayed gratification and building those skills. I think it's going to really just depend kind of on the kids that we have coming in and what their needs are. Because just because a child is in the 7th grade and doesn't mean that they're necessarily ready for that developmentally. A lot of our students with neurodivergent, um, either ADHD, autism, mental health needs, whatever, some of them aren't, they're a little bit more delayed social emotionally. So yeah, you may have a 14-year-old, but they may be more like an 11-year-old emotionally. So like how would we handle rewards and that kind of thing with an 11-year-old? And I think a lot of junior high kids, this is just me because I have two at home. Well, my son's getting ready to go to high school. I have two at home, and I think a lot of people, you see these big bodies, and you would think that they have big skills, and they don't. A lot of them still very much need some of those younger supports and things that you kind of need to fade out. But oftentimes we see kids come straight from elementary school, and it's just like cut, try, you're in junior high now, and that can be really really jarring for them. Some of them rise to the occasion, and they're able to do it, and some of them crash and burn. But I think that, you kind of, as a good educator, you have to see where your kids are at and tailor to what they need to help them be successful. So that's really kind of what I aim to do with my students is just kind of see where we're what we need. And that's not always easy. A lot of times we do get these preconceived notions in our head that you're 12, so you should be able to do X, Y, and Z. And there's not there's not emotional milestones like developmental, when your child's learning how to walk or that sort of thing. Like kids really develop that emotional regulation skill at their own individual rate. And we as parents and educators need to be mindful of that. You don't need to be upset if your child's a little bit more immature than other children their age. In fact, one thing I think I see a lot of too is people pushing kids maybe before they're ready, and that can be very traumatic. We only get one childhood. I think it's important to let kids have that childhood and those moments to be able to learn and grow. I think when you get to secondary level, like junior high, I'm speaking specifically seventh and eighth grade, they definitely they're still kids. They still will ask for things like birthday parties and cupcakes and holiday parties. And I think it's a big shift. I mean, I think the biggest shift that you see when you get into secondary is between that ninth and 10th grade. That's where I think where the shift from like kid to more teenager hits. It's not really so much the seventh and eighth. I don't know. If there's any secondary teachers on here, they can tell me if they agree with that or not. That's kind of like my take. That's what I've observed is I feel like it's that ninth and 10th grade year, when you're turning like 15, 16, it's when you really shift from younger, younger mindset to a teenage, more adult, more forward thinking. So hopefully you guys are using the summer to reset and relax and take care of yourselves. I know that for a lot of people, these last couple of years of teaching have been really, really difficult. So hopefully you're listening to your body, your mind, your emotional health, and you're taking care of that and not overdoing it. I think I've had a lot of motivation this summer to work, 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 but I think it's important to sit back and kind of relax and find what makes you happy and discover what you need a little bit. I'm seeing some people kind of enter in. So if you have any questions, just leave them down below. I've got my computer up and I will go ahead and answer any questions that you have. It doesn't have to be related to data collection. It can be really any teacher related question that you have or even parenting related question that you have. I'm happy to answer those to the best I can or anything positive that you just want to share. Anybody do anything exciting that you've done over the summer that just like gave you joy? So it's been kind of quiet on here today. I think this will probably be the last morning live that I do. I definitely think, and I will ask people here on my channel, we'll do kind of a survey, but I think the evenings, afternoons are probably the better time, which I understand. It was kind of a rush to get myself ready and on here this morning on a Friday. I know you don't necessarily have to get ready, but I chose to. Self care. So, if you have any questions, I'm going to probably go ahead and end this live since I don't have a lot of people asking me too much on here. But if you have any things that you would like to discuss in the live in the future, go ahead, just send them to me. You can always email me. I will put my email down below in the description. I will also link my previous video that I was talking about. And some of the other links that I talked about to my Teachers Pay Teacher store if you want to check out any of those free resources that I mentioned. And also, you can subscribe to it on there as well. You get notifications when I have the other products up that I'm launching. Like I said, I have a lot of really great freebies, plus some affordable things that have really helped me that I'm putting in there, things that I'm using in my classroom that hopefully you can use and help you get a little bit more organized and take some stress off for the beginning of the year, because that really is, I think, what can help your year start the smoothest is if you have, for me, I've always felt like if I have time to get myself organized and I have all of my systems for data collection in place, and I have a lot of my stuff set up for my mapping and my scheduling right off the bat, I always feel like I have a much smoother year. I'm ready for anything because we all know it's like as soon as you get comfortable, you get new students or they flip the script on you some way, or someone, something changes. It always changes. So I think it's really helpful to have that stuff ready. And I love going on Teachers Pay Teachers and using like tried and true resources. And if you're thinking about starting a Teachers Pay Teachers, my community is all about supporting all of us teachers here. We know, I mean, right now a lot of us probably have to do other things for additional income. It's just how it is right now. They're kind of tight for people. That's why I want to keep a lot of freebies and affordable resources on there. But if you are thinking of starting your own store, creating resources or resources you've created and you want to share any questions for me, I'm still pretty new, but I have been I did a video on it on Creative Fabrica, and oh my gosh, I think I'm gonna end up doing another video on Creative Fabrica because since that video, I have played around even more on it. There's just so many resources. And if you are a TPT creator or you're thinking about it, or if you just want to make your own stuff for your classroom that fits your needs, they have the cutest fonts. And if you get the little membership, like I pay for the monthly membership and they have like a $4.99 and a $9.99, you can get all of these fonts that you can download. And you can use the AI feature to make your own like unique pictures, which is so super cool, and templates, things that are already created. If you're going to like tweak it, resell it on Teachers Pay Teachers, you can't use it in its full entirety for copyright. You have to tweak it, edit it yourself. But there's so many. But even if you don't want to, like if you just want to go in there because you pay for that membership, you can just download stuff and use it. And they have worksheets galore, like math worksheets, like reading worksheets, color worksheets, and you can use them, or some of them you can upload them into Canva and edit them. If you're ever curious, I don't know how many of y'all are interested in learning how to use Canva. If you know how to use Canva, I could do a video on Canva. I'm not like an all-star Canva person yet. Still learning, but I can show you some of the stuff that I've discovered because I do use Canva for some of my resources, and I use Canva for some of the stuff in my classes and with school, and I use Canva for my social media stuff. So if you'd like to see how I use Canva, how I integrate Creative Fabrica in there, totally will show you again. Because it has been a game changer. I think one of the reasons I slowed down a lot on my TPT stuff is because I was making all of it in Google Slides, all with just the things that were provided in Google Slides, and that was taking forever. So being able to get the fonts, the graphics, all of that stuff, even some templates that I could utilize from Creative Fabrica has been a game changer. I will link Creative Fabrica below too, so you can check that out. But like, I didn't even know they existed until they like reached out to me for a collaboration. And I always test stuff out before I collaborate because I don't want to promote something that I don't like. And I was like, oh, this is so cool. How have I never heard of this before? So go check it out if you're wanting to, because you can make some cool designs and decorations for your classroom for free if you wanted to. You just pay the little membership and have access to all of it. And that saves a lot, especially if you're going to be a new teacher or if you're a homeschooling parent. So cool. Really like the idea. So I know I have a lot of people in our community who do make some of their own resources, or if you're looking to create a supplemental income. I know I don't do it. I was looking into it, but it's the Amazon uh, printables. Like people can go on there and they're doing that as a business. I do the Amazon influencer store stuff, which is great because it's nice passive income if you're a teacher. Um, to do that if you have a social media business account, and you can apply for that. And if you ever want more information on that, I'd be happy to talk about some of that teacher influencer, how to make passive income side hustle stuff. I can totally do a live on that. Still learning, not the goddess on all of that stuff, but I have learned some things along the way, and I can share that with you if you're looking to make an extra income at the start of the school year. Um, but yeah, you can check out that stuff. But anyway, sorry, on my point, I got sidetracked. But they have the printables you can do. And I've been thinking about setting up a printable shop. I think that may be something I'm doing in the future, where you can design your own notebooks, journals, ebooks, that kind of stuff. And then you get commission for those too. So if you are the creative type, and it doesn't have to be teacher related on that, because I know with teachers pay teachers, you want to keep it teacher related. But if you do the Amazon like KDP stuff, it can be anything you want to do. So that's kind of just a self-publishing. So it's kind of a cool thing to look into, but that's where you can use like some of those extra sites like Canva, Creative Fabrica to help you design those things. But there are some ins and outs on that. So I'd be happy to talk about them, because there are rules that come with what you can use and what you can't, what you can use for sell. At least with Canva. With Creative Fabrica, if you purchase the membership, you can use their products as long as you edit it like it's not like the original one. Sort of like if you bought a packet of like, the example they give you on there is if you bought like a packet of flower pieces, you couldn't use the put together like floral design they already made. But if you had like the flower pieces, you could put together your own floral design, graphic, whatever that's kind of unique. You take what they give you in the template and you make it your own. What you make is your own, you can sell. Hopefully that was clear. If not, I'm fully willing to clarify it. But since I'm not getting a lot of questions, I will go ahead and end this live here. Like I said, if you want to do any lives on any other topics, some of the things I mentioned, I want to try to do a live once a week the rest of the summer, and then maybe continue lives periodically throughout the school year, where we can kind of talk about the issues and the things we're dealing with in the moment. But thank you so much for joining me. And I'm happy I got to talk to you all. I love getting on here and talking with this community. You guys are so supportive and so awesome. And I'm really grateful for that. So thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you. I will be working on my video for next week. Stand by, check out the polls for what you guys want to see. I really want to make content you all want to see. So I really do take your feedback very seriously. I've been trying, if you've noticed, putting out videos that have been coming back higher in my surveys. So if there's something you really want to see and you haven't seen it yet, please let me know. Send me a DM on Instagram. You can message in the comments below. You can send me an email, in my email that I put in the description, whatever, if there's certain videos that you really want to see. And if it's something that I feel comfortable that I know I can address and help you with, I would be happy to do it. So thank you so much, and see you all soon.